EA Games.
Challenge everything.
Hey, where's the bloody racing stuff? I got you, mate. Don't worry about it.
If only I could start this fine piece of machine.
Video game here, as this is another one of my favorites, as you can't talk about a sequel of an iconic video game without bringing up the original, as that's the case with Need for Speed Underground.
I know, right?
Underground is a racing game developed by EA Games and Black Box. It was released on November 17, 2003 for the PS2, Xbox, PC, Game Boy Advance, and GameCube. The game was preceded by Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. The game starts with you driving a red and white Acura Integra, as it looked like you were driving and it wound up overheating.
Wake that ass up. You having a dream.
Samantha makes fun of you, and here's what she had to say afterwards.
Is that your fantasy? Look, that's Evan. Take a good look, man. He's a winner, and winners get mad respect. It ain't just about the car, it's about the attitude.
Samantha is played by Cindy Johnson. It turns out that you have no car at all, and have nothing to prove to impress other racers. After that, you have a choice for your first car. They are the Mazda MX-5, which costs $9,500, Honda Civic, which is priced at $10,000, Dodge Neon, which is worth $8,500, Peugeot 206 at $8,500 as well, and the Volkswagen Golf, which is $8,000. Regardless of what car you choose, Samantha says this.
Ouch, that is seriously weak, dude.
Underground is the first game of the Need for Speed franchise to have a proper story mode, as Samantha is your guide in the game and a lot of dialogue in the game as well. She will keep you up to date on what events are going on throughout the city. This game is considered a classic because it is one of the best Need for Speed games of all time, and it took a major risk by transitioning from traditionally having fast exotics and police chases to tuner cars and no police. It wound up paying off, as it also took advantage of the popularity of the Fast and Furious franchise at the time. Many Skyline was an iconic car in the industry, as this car appeared in Need for Speed 2015 as an update in the game. You can obviously drive it in that game once it's purchased. In order to unlock his car in Underground, though, it's style points to quick race mode. He is a man to beat in the Underground. However, it doesn't have as much customization, as its successor, but it has some customization, as it was new to the Need for Speed franchise at the time, and it was revolutionary in Underground. Style points are by doing certain moves during races, such as near misses, hang time, or drifting. But if you crash, you lose some of those points. They are key to unlocking the gears as well. Unlike Underground 2, Underground has a ton of limitations as far as customization and career is concerned. You can only customize one stock car at a time in the game, and are limited to one car in the career mode. However, you can still do a decent amount of customization in the game, as it ranges from neon to roof scoops, spoilers, vitals, window tint, and others. The performance parts range from including NOS, engine, ECU, turbo, brakes, tires, and more. Also, driving well and customizing your car is key to success in the Underground. The theme song of Underground is Get Low by Lil Jon and the Eastside Boys. The song is played in the main menu every time you start the game. Here's Johnson speaking about how she was featured in the game as Samantha.
The process for putting me into Need for Speed Underground involved cyber scanning me into the computers.
You want to be the best? You gotta take these boys down. If you lose, you're gone. Got it? Good. Now move it.
I love fighting games, I love racing games. I've played some of the Need for Speed games, and I cannot wait to race myself in Need for Speed Underground. Seeing myself in Need for Speed Underground was excellent. I was just amazed that it was me there, and to be immortalized in a way like this is very flattering and so much fun.
Amy Walls, who plays Melissa, brought up how her character is.
And she's kind of like the bad girl, really unattainable. She drives really fast and just really cool.
The scan was amazing. I'm sitting in a room and the little laser goes around and it was
really, really cool to see yourself like in a three-dimensional way because you're usually seeing yourself in 2 dimensions.
I'm holding metal, ready to bring it to him strong. Rob Strickland, make sure my name lives on and lasts long. #1 with every song. Rock a microphone, even if my sight gone. Man, you're wrong. Say you as hot as me. Better chance in the lottery. Love to love you, baby.
Hey, you guys need to really check out Need for Speed Underground.
Cars, like girls, guys will always love.
Underground also includes a number of different modes, which are drag, drift, sprint, circuit, and knockout races. Now let's get into each one, as diversity is key to progressing in the game. Drag. Drift races are races that you go sideways around the track and you get a certain amount of points based on the speed and angle of the drift. Use extreme caution because if you hit the wall, those points will be speed. Sprint races are point races starting one another. Circuit races and sprint are also point races, but instead of fast forward to back. Instead of racing from one section to the sixth and everything there. Knockout races are 4-lap races against the other opponent. What you need to underground is that it has a ranking system. You have to keep winning in order to move to the top, as drag, drift, sprint, and circuit all have separate rankings. The goal is to master all of those to be the one in the underground. You also have unlocked magazines for moving up in addition to the car upgrades, which you can also earn magazines for. Underground doesn't have as much product placement as its successor, but it has subs such as McDonald's, AutoZone, Radio Shack, and more. If it weren't for the success of this game, Underground 2 would not have been possible. That's true because Underground was the reason why Underground 2 became what it became, because of the fact that Underground was first and the success of that game, even though not a lot of people expected it to be successful, especially how it traditionally was a police chase and exotic franchise. But like I said earlier, it paid off as it was extremely popular because of the Fast and Furious franchise, and people were blown away like, wow, there's customization in a Need for Speed franchise, and that made it revolutionary because Need for Speed was never known for customization. They were just known for exotics and police chases, and also included a lot of new customization features in the game, which made it what it became, and it's been like that ever since, where you customize your car in every game. But I do have a couple flaws, though, in this game, though, despite how great it is. The problems are that it doesn't have a proper open world. Even though there's been mods of it on YouTube, it's still not a true open world, which was extremely criticized, and I have a criticism about that as well, which is why critics gave it a lot of problems with it as well. Critics didn't like it, and that's why Underground 2 wound up becoming an open world game, and it was originally supposed to be a track game. Originally supposed to not be an open world game, just like how Underground is not an open world game. That would have been the case in Underground 2 because of how critics were having a big problem with that. That's why Underground 2 didn't become the track game that it was in Underground, and that's why it was an open world. And that's one of the issues I have with Underground, is that it's not a proper open world, and customization is so limited, and like I said earlier, and also because you can only have one career car at a time, and you can't even redo your career once it's over. Once it's over, you're done. You have to create a new profile in order to do a new career, but that's not the case in the sequel, though. But still, it's still a great game. But as far as the one car in your career is concerned, you can get another car, but you would have to trade it in. So, but still, you're stuck with one car in your career. You cannot have multiple cars. And another flaw is that, like I said earlier, you can only customize one car at the time that's stock in quick race mode. So once you already customize that car, you cannot make more versions of it, unlike the sequel. So there's a couple flaws I have in there. But I still would recommend the game, though. It's absolutely great, because if it weren't for this game, there would be no Underground 2. It was extremely revolutionary at the time, because it was a totally different direction for Need for Speed to go, especially with it having never had customization before, but it did in this game, which was unbelievable that it would do something like that, because it was never done before. It was remarkable and pretty great that it had it, because it was a big risk that it had it, but it wound up being a big part of the Underground series with Underground 2 as well, with the tuner cars and everything like that. But customization has become a big part of Need for Speed, and has been a part of the franchise ever since Underground. So that's another reason why it's a great game, a classic, revolutionary, because it provided something like that the franchise never had before, and it's had customization ever since. And it's never gotten to the point that it was in the Underground franchise customization, but it's still great, and it's pretty cool that it's in this game, because that was never done before. Another issue with another flaw I have with the game was once you get more united to the race, that's it. You can't do it anymore. But luckily, it's still a great game. It's awesome. You could do a lot of things in the game still, even though it's repetitive in the races. But I don't care. It's still a great game. Another thing I give credit to EA Games and Black Box were doing with this game is that when you're in the career mode, you could be able to choose whether easy, medium, or hard difficulty as far as the race is concerned, and you could do that as far as that. And if you do, you could be able to get more money based on your difficulty. So let's say easy is 5,000, medium would be 7,500, and hard would be 10,000. So the higher the difficulty, the more money you get. So credit to EA Games and Black Box for doing that in that game. Something I don't think was done in Underground 2. Instead, you choose your career difficulty, and the amount of money you make is, I think it's the same regardless of your difficulty. But still, it's still a great game, regardless of, despite having that, which is pretty cool that it has those difficulties because you could be able to choose. Unfortunately, later in the game, though, on PC, it doesn't matter. It gets a lot harder, and you have to do some changes there. But still, a pretty great game. Highly recommend it, and you're going to have a great time with it, even though it's no longer available on console, as most of these games aren't. But if you can get it on console, get it. But you have to get it online somewhere on Amazon or eBay. But the best bet is probably PC. Even though it's the same game, it's not as better than the console. Of course, the console is the best version. But still, get it on PC. You can probably get it online. You can get it online somewhere. And I highly recommend it. You're going to have a great time with it. I know it's not as great as Underground 2, but if you have one game or the other, get the other. But if I were to pick, I would pick Underground 2. But still, you should play this game, Underground. It's just a great game. You're going to have a great time. Also, get your drift on and go as sideways as you want and have a lot of fun. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.